Bulls Nation, 3 games into the regular season starting, and the undefeated Bulls do have some discussions to talk about in relation to the starting lineup. Something that I saw from my last video, and it's been really popping up recently in that comment section, is that many people believe Javonte Green should be starting ahead of Patrick Williams. Now, I didn't want to make this video particularly this early, but I do feel like I can make another one down the line if things do end up changing. But I want to talk about the, goods and the bads of seeing Javonte Green start over Patrick Williams, and whether or not it can happen for the Chicago Bulls, and what I think about it personally. So without further ado, let's talk all about it in this video. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? It's The Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls related video discussing the starting lineup of this team and whether or not Patrick Williams should go to the bench and allow Javonte Green to start with this starting lineup. At the end of the day, many people have their questions about Patrick Williams and his production early on. Many people are really excited and happy with Javonte Green's production coming off of this bench. So the question is starting to get asked by many people as to whether or not Javonte Green should be in this starting lineup. Before we get any further, please like and subscribe to The Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this situation, whether or not there is a change that needs to happen with the starting lineup. The one thing that we need to know about Billy Donovan is that he is not afraid to make changes. We've seen that last year when the Chicago Bulls kind of struggled with the starting lineup and our bench was outproducing our lineup. We decided to make a change. And although I don't think that change worked out very well for this team, it goes to show that he's just not afraid to make certain changes to try and help this team win more games. So Billy Donovan, I think, is very capable of making the change. And we just need to discuss now whether it's a little bit of a positive move or if it's a negative move. So I'm going to be talking about some pros and cons about this situation. So I want to start off with some of the positives of seeing Javonte Green start over Patrick Williams. I think for many people's eyes, they can truly see Javonte Green fits the starting lineup chemistry-wise, and many people have specifically mentioned Lonzo Ball and Javonte Green's chemistry together, which I think it's very hard to unsee once you start seeing it. Once you start seeing the runs that Javonte Green makes, he's a very fast player. He's a player that will run out in transition, and he's a very hard worker. So these are the things that Lonzo Ball can use to his advantage when you're going to play fast tempo. Javonte Green is a very good defensive player as well. Although he will be kind of playing at a power forward position, he is someone that does play bigger than his size. He's only 6'3", but he does play a little bit taller than that, the way that he does play defense, I guess the energy that he brings into the team. So there's positives there with Javonte Green and the chemistry that he could have with this starting lineup in terms of the running in transition and I guess playing a little bit bigger than what his size may say. Positives there with Javonte Green. That's definitely something that we should look at and maybe consider it could be potentially useful for the starting lineup at times. Also, he is kind of outproducing Patrick Williams in less minutes on this team, which again, many people will suggest that that is another reason that he could start. It's because with limited minutes, again, he is a bench player. Bench players don't often get over 20 minutes per game like Patrick Williams is currently getting. He is outproducing him. He's outproducing him defensively, and he's kind of outproducing him offensively as well. He's making those corner threes. He's running out in transition. He is getting those highlight plays as well. He is an energy player, and at the end of the day, that energy player is something that we may need in the starting lineup. And in my opinion, I don't think many people have suggested this to me, but it's definitely something that I think will be fixed. The slow starts to the games that we've seen with the Chicago Bulls against the Detroit Pistons and the Pelicans. We started slowly in all 3 of those games. These are the things that I think the Bulls could potentially don't have an issue with when you see Javonte Green starting, because I feel like it is a lack of energy as to why we are starting slowly. It's a little bit of, I guess, there's not much momentum in the game at the very beginning. So when you bring an energy bunny into the game, when you bring someone that can energize the team, make the team run a little bit faster, get a little bit more hyped, I think Javonte Green will bring that and maybe fix some of those issues with some starts to the games that we have, which again is a very, very big positive. And to continue on some of the positive ways that Javonte Green could start ahead of Patrick Williams, this could actually benefit Patrick Williams as well. For one reason particularly is his aggressiveness on the court. When he's starting with players like Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, even Lonzo Ball, who are all players that will be taking more shots than Patrick Williams, he's the fifth man on the team in terms of scoring. He's someone that won't see many shots in the starting lineup, and he does play a lot with the starting lineup. If you move Patrick Williams to the bench, that aggressiveness that Billy Donovan was talking about, that aggressiveness that we want to see out of Patrick Williams will definitely be showed a lot more off of the bench because we don't have bench scoring. To put it in perspective, we have Ayo Dosunmu, who's a player that could potentially be a bench scorer, who doesn't really get consistent minutes from what we've seen so far. He played 2 Detroit games. He didn't really play too much against the Pelicans. You got Patrick Williams there that could potentially be a good scorer if he finds his aggressiveness. We've got Alex Caruso. Alize Johnson is not necessarily a main scorer. Troy Brown Jr. will make open threes if you give him the opportunity to, but outside of that, no one can really make their shot on this team. With Patrick Williams' ability, and I do think he has a tremendous offensive ability that we just don't see enough of, seeing him on this bench can maybe take a little bit more of that aggression and put it into use on the bench. Maybe get more shots, create more shots for the bench, and maybe get more points onto this team against other teams' second units as well, which is a very positive thing for Patrick Williams. So it does benefit him as well. I know many people see Patrick Williams going to the bench as a demotion. I don't necessarily think it's a demotion. I just think it could potentially be an opportunity for him to kind of show his offensive game more fluently while other players are resting. Now moving on to some of the negatives or some of the things that could potentially affect the Chicago Bulls when it comes to starting Javonte Green over Patrick Williams. So we just talked about Patrick Williams and how his scoring threat could potentially be vital or potentially be useful coming off of the bench. Something that could potentially be a limitation towards Patrick Williams starting on the bench is the potential starting lineup and some of the size issues we may have. Now, the defensive end for the Chicago Bulls has been really solid at the moment, and that does count Javonte Green and how special he's been defensively. However, again, once we play some bigger teams in the NBA, there could potentially be a potential size issue that, let's say we verse the Lakers, right? An example, obviously the Lakers, their starting lineup at the moment has potentially Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, DeAndre Jordan. They have a big lineup, and their big lineup at the end of the day will already cause trouble for the Chicago Bulls with Patrick Williams in the side. But with Javonte Green in the side, that's another issue entirely. And sometimes the offensive side of the game, when they have so many bigs, works in our favor. But defensively, we could be a liability with less size in the team than what we could potentially have with the Lakers as well. That is a big issue in my opinion. That's definitely something that we do need to look at. In specific games, it might not be best to start Javonte Green. Another thing I do have to say as well is that sometimes the energy of a player is because they're coming off of the bench. So Javonte Green could be that spark plug. He's the person that will just come in and energize the rest of the team. We might not see that spark plug coming off of the bench anymore, and that starting lineup might feel a little bit better at the time, but maybe the production of the starting lineup will begin to fall. That's something that we won't know until Javonte Green obviously does start for the Chicago Bulls in one way or another, and that obviously will be an indication. We did see him start in the preseason, and we saw that wasn't the case at all. Maybe in the regular season, it will be, again, a positive to start Javonte Green. But yeah, rebounding-wise and, of course, size-wise, it's definitely, I think, a limitation to start Javonte Green ahead of Patrick Williams. But at the end of the day, we are also starting to see game by game. It's not fantastic, but game by game, we are seeing a better Patrick Williams. Now, do you want to kind of stunt that and kind of just change it straight away to allow Javonte Green to start, who arguably is probably at in better pace right now, in a better way of form? Or do you want to see Patrick Williams continue to improve every single game until he's the Patrick Williams that we all know and potentially even a better version of himself? That's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. But there's another thing here. Again, if he is getting better every single game, do you really want to change things straight away? Also, the Chicago Bulls have won 3 games in a row. We have altogether won 4 preseason games and 3 regular season games. We are in a good run of form. And Patrick Williams has started from that Memphis Grizzlies game all the way to this game against the Detroit Pistons. Do you really want to change a formula that may not be broken? That's definitely questions we all need to ask ourselves. And there are pros and cons to both sides. Now, to my personal opinion, I think we need to require a lot of patience with Patrick Williams. At the end of the day, I don't want people saying Patrick Williams is a bad player, Patrick Williams isn't the right fit, Patrick Williams isn't going to be a good player for this team. I don't necessarily want to hear any of those things because it's still way too early to tell if those things will come true or not. Right now, Patrick Williams is coming back from an injury. Patrick Williams is potentially a bit rusty, not playing in preseason, not necessarily having a training camp. He has to catch up with a lot of the players that have had those things happen to them, have had training camps, have had preseason experience, knows what it's like to play on this team. So Patrick Williams is slowly starting to catch up. So whatever we decide, I really want patience to be the main focus about Patrick Williams. And I don't want to rush into conclusions and saying he's not going to be the right guy for the Chicago Bulls. He's not going to be a solid starter. Whatever the case may be, whether we start him or we bench him for now, in the future, I want Patrick Williams to be starting for this team. So for me personally, I would lean towards, I like Patrick Williams and I think he could be very good for this team. And I would like to see him start because this team was designed to keep in mind that Patrick Williams would start. Unfortunately, we've not seen the best Patrick Williams. And for that reason, I can understand why so many people want Javonte Green to play, because Javonte Green is out playing Patrick Williams and we're in a win now mode. And in order to be in a win now mode, you must play the better players on the team. And so far that isn't Patrick Williams. So I can understand why people want to see Patrick Williams start. However, we've won all of these games. We've done very, very well in some of these games. Patrick Williams has been the main starter in most of those games. So I would lean towards starting Patrick Williams, in my personal opinion. And I know that divides opinion. I know many people will disagree. And we're all open to discussion. We're all here for communication. We're all here to share their opinions. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls potentially starting Javonte Green over Patrick Williams. Who do you want to start? Javonte Green, I feel like is going to get majority of people that want to start, and I completely understand because the chemistry, again, I've said everything I need to say about that situation. But for me personally, I just want to lean on the side of caution and patience and just give Patrick Williams more time before we make such a big decision in the starting lineup. And again, certain teams, we may need the size. Maybe Alize Johnson is a potential player that could potentially be starting over Patrick Williams at times because we do need size. Size is a really important thing that we may have to, use in certain situations. Certain games require certain amount of players, small ball, or sometimes you need to play some bully ball. And these are the things that we need to consider while we're playing most games of the season. With that being said, I don't think the Chicago Bulls are going to do it. I think the Chicago Bulls are going to keep Patrick Williams in the lineup. And until otherwise, I personally don't think the Bulls are going to do it. But me personally, I would also lean on the side of patience. I don't want to rush into anything that may not be seen as good at the moment. With that being said, again, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Take care and peace.